Good evening. Welcome to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show. My name is Leon Jones. This evening's topic, it's a relationship topic. The title of this video is Men's Needs Are Dismissed While Women's Needs Are Discussed. Well, from the title, it tells you that relationships are one-sided. It appears that way. Now, why does it appear that way? It appears that way because let's start off with the marketing efforts. JB Jewelers, Edward Jewelers, KB Jewelers. What do they do, particularly during this time of the year and Valentine's Day? That's right, cater to women. Now, of course, women are big consumers, but when it comes to issues of a relationship, even with women battling for equality on a daily basis, what's not equal is relationships, because still you have the bulk of the men, even with women working, paying for the dinners and all the entertainment so women can have a good time. But at the end of the day, what happens? Well, generally, a man leaves with a hole in his pocket, whereas she hasn't spent any of her money. Now, during this time of equality, should women not be contributing to dates? Now, this is not all women, but it's the bulk of them, believe it or not. Now, I was talking to a subscriber of mine, and she told me she likes to be her man's personal whore. Now, when she talked about her man, she meant her husband. Now, of course, when we hear the vernacular or the adjective whore, we look at it as something bad. But when a man has a good wife, and a good wife wants to call herself her man's whore, she shouldn't get any backlash from anybody, but she will. Because when it comes to relationships, because of the feminist, relationships seem to be oppressive to women from their ideology. But again, when it comes to a number of women, and this is not a video to hate women, this is pointing out the issues on why relationships seem one-sided. So please, ladies, don't come to my channel with the emotional bullshit in my comment section, because if you don't listen to the video, that's your own fault. This is 100% truth, and it can't be refuted, regardless of how you feel. The truth is always going to prevail, and you ladies got to know that. Some of you aren't grown up yet or logical to understand the point of a video, and you want to flag a video when you hate the truth. And if you're doing that and you want a relationship, a man shouldn't date you at all, because you're not responsible enough to have a relationship if you don't listen well. What I'm telling you is the relationships are one-sided, because there are a number of you ladies out there who don't want to participate in the relationship. You want to be the beneficiary. Now, it is not your fault that you're like that, because when it comes to upbringing, we always talk so much about single mothers and their daughters. A lot of times the single mothers get along with their sons and they kick their daughters out, because when it comes to a daughter and a mom in the house, well, the daughter and the mom are going to compete with each other. And when it comes to men, some of these moms aren't grown up themselves, and their daughters look better than the moms, so the mom's just going to kick her out. This happens in some single-parent households. But let's talk about the two-parent households and how they raise the daughters as well, because you have that father, believe it or not. And I hate to say it, a lot of these fathers in two-parent households aren't strong themselves. They're weak, and it's usually the wife that's the dominant one. Now, there's this TV show out there that'll prove the point. Now, it's only TV, but it happens. You look at Modern Family. You look at the guy, Ed O'Neill, who's dating the Spanish girl. I forgot her name. Sofia Vergara, whatever her name is, she's from Colombia. The one I'm talking about is that middle family where guy's name is Phil. He has a son and two daughters, and their daughters are very mouthy, very disrespectful. But he's a simp. And a woman is the domineering one. She went to college, but she has no job. But this is what's out here. And a lot of men cater to that. Why? Two things come to mind. Men haven't been raised to be leaders because they've come from families, particularly being the beneficiary of the acceptance of divorce during two generations. Generation X, that's my generation from 1965 to 1981, and the baby boomer generation, which that started everything. Now we're in the millennial generation and everything goes. That's the problem. When fathers are raising their daughters as their princesses instead of their daughters. We're supposed to raise our daughters to understand the real world, not to tell them that they're princesses. We're supposed to tell our daughters that we love them. I have 3 daughters myself. I tell them that I love them, but I've never called them princesses because they're not. Why? Because I want them to understand that when it comes to relationships, you have to do your part. You can't always be on the receiving end. It takes work to keep a relationship together. And the biggest part of a relationship, particularly when it comes to marriage, why some men cheat, because there are a number of men out there who don't want to cheat. Trust me, and I've spoken with some of them. And the ones that I know who did told me this: they weren't getting enough sex. Now, ladies, sex is big. And there are a number of magazines out there like Cosmopolitan and Vox and Vogue that always put this question out to a number of wives. What drives them crazy? Well, what drives them crazy, some of their answers, particularly this answer, was he wants sex too much. Well, when you get married, it used to be for better or for worse. But when a man wants to make love to you, you're never in the mood to make love to him, that's a problem. And what happens with some of these marriages, the women ration out the sex, and this is why I call it shut up sex. They give him enough to shut him up. But the sex isn't that good because she's not putting her all into it. That's a big problem. And ladies, if you're not putting your all into your relationship, trust me, your man, he's not going to leave you, but he's going to go find somebody else to do what you should be doing. Because number one, you have the laws on your side anyway. You can cheat on him and still be the beneficiary of alimony and child support. He has to deal with it. But if he does the same thing, he's going to pay anyway. And that being said, with relationships being one-sided, why should men get married? Because a lot of men are miserable in marriages. Now, there are lots of good marriages out there. But there are too many men out there who have been on the wrong side of the issue when it comes to marriage. Now, to the defense of women out there, men cater to a woman's attitude. We do. Because we believe that we know what women want. We don't. Why? Because women have a whole list of standards that they won't reach, but they expect us to reach them. It's impossible. We have a few. And one of our issues or our interest that we have when it comes to women is we want good sex. It's not that women don't want sex, because I believe women want sex as well, but they go around the bush to tell us they want sex. Women, you got to start being a little more direct with us by letting us know what you want instead of going around the bend. Now, some of you will come out directly and say that, but a number of you won't. But when it comes to any relationship, I heard, shout out to brother Alan Roger Curry. You can check out his book, Mode 1. I'm subscribed to his channel. Now, he had mentioned something that I'd listened to, and he talked about Mode 1. Now, many brothers didn't understand what Mode 1 is. They thought, well, it's just being disrespectful to a woman. Now, a simp would say that, but no. The approach when it comes to Mode 1 is it's a direct approach. But he mentioned that there were three approaches. Of course, there's the direct, there's the voice and how you talk to a woman, and the eye contact. Just like I'm looking into this camera right now, you have to have confidence. Even if you slip a little bit, even if you say a cuss word, you got to have confidence that you're not afraid to talk to women. But also, it's the body language. Are women closed off or are they open? A lot of us don't catch that. And see, when it comes to men, a lot of us don't know about women because what we want from a woman is basically one thing. Many of us will do anything to avoid her teardrops and tantrums, but we'll do anything to get sex. Why? Because a number of us believe that that's what a woman's worth to us. And see, women have captured that, and what we've done, we've paid for it. See, dating is like legal prostitution, believe it or not. The way we participate in it or approach it. Because it's about her body for your resources. Well, it doesn't have to be like that, but we make it like that. But moving on, why does it seem that men's issues are dismissed? Very easy question to answer. A number of women are selfish. They don't really care about what we want because they want to dictate the relationship. They want to dictate how the relationship is going to be. They want the relationship to always be in their favor because they believe that the relationship is about them. That's selfish. It's a narcissistic behavior. But a lot of men deal with it because they're not confident enough to actually be direct with a woman by telling her that, hey, I don't need that. And too many of us as men are captivated based on how she looks. Looks don't mean she has substance. Because there are a number of women out there who are average looking who have substance, but we don't want to deal with those women because the ones who are average, we don't want them. But they could have the substance. And when it comes to women who are the most beautiful women in their mind, they know they can get a lot of men, so they're going to have the attitude of entitlement. In fact, the most beautiful women, and even some of your unattractive women, they seem to have the more childish behaviors. The ones at the bottom of the barrel, they got this artificial confidence that they are good at everything, and they don't need a man. And I'm not talking about black women, I'm talking about the bottom of the barrel women across the board. Now, they'll tell you they don't need a man. It's not that they don't need a man. Man doesn't want them. So they're going to use the I don't need a man to make themselves feel good. And then when you have the women who are the most beautiful women up there, of course they can tell you they don't need a man. Why? Because they get plenty of men. Because many men are always going to cater to them because they look good. But if you look at the whole spectrum when it comes to dating, with 50 years, that includes the feminists playing their part, men playing their part, particularly the politicians who are part of the elected officials that we elect every 2 to 4 to 6 years with the laws. Why is it that relationships still seem to be one-sided? I mean, we live in a new era. I always hear women tell us this isn't the 1950s anymore. but yet they want to be treated like it's the 1950s when it comes to dating. But why? It's very simple. A number of women believe that it's always been about them and it's going to continue to be about them. And they believe, from what their mothers told them, what their fathers told them, that all they have to do is show up. It's the man's job to do everything, even in bed. She can just lie there while man or men do all the work. Now, as far as my subscriber saying that she's a personal whore, she explained to me what she meant. She just likes to be loyal to her man, because the type of whore that we really talk about is an around-the-way whore, who's with every Tom, Dick, and Harry. But we don't talk about the one who wants to be with her man, loyal to her man, monogamous to her man. In fact, if a woman is monogamous, we look down on that. Why? Because in this day and age, women believe that's old-fashioned. But funny how she says that's old-fashioned, but yet she wants a man to continue to cater to her when it comes to wining and dining her. But she feels that a man is supposed to serve her. She doesn't feel she doesn't have to serve her man. Well, this is why you have a number of men running over there to MGTOW and Ibmore, because they are seeing the light and they feel with today's women that they're not worth dating. The problem is, we should have caught that a long time ago. The moment feminism started, men should have challenged it. We didn't challenge it. Why? Because when it comes to individuals who are elite, they dictate everything that goes on around the world, even with relationships, because they have the money. And they want to keep the lower level people fighting one another, and they want to keep all of the goodies with themselves. That's the problem. But when it comes to relationships should be two-way streets. A woman should not be allowed to come to the table with nothing. And a man should bring that out. And a man, he should let a woman know what he wants. Because the reason why men don't discuss what they really want to a woman, because he believes that a woman isn't going to care. And there are a number of women who don't care. But I say this in my rules of dating: before you even meet a woman, you talk to her on the phone for at least 2 weeks to a month. That way you get an idea of the different voice patterns. You get an idea of how she feels or passes the conversation test. I don't want to use the word test, but let's just put it out there like that. You are vetting this woman to see if she's worth your time, because a lot of women will waste your time if you allow them to. Notice what I said, if you allow them to. But for the most part, dating is one-sided because men, and this is our fault, and this is the point, because we keep utilizing women for sex. Women know that, and they'll gladly take your money. And this is what the simps do. See, the simps don't have confidence to talk to a woman directly, so he thinks he can get that woman via money. Certainly a woman's going to take his money, but at the end of the day, that woman's not going to respect him, and she's going to go over there to that man who is a little bit more direct in his approach, and he's going to get it for free. Alan Roger Curry says this, and I've said this myself. Usually when you get down to modes 3 and 4, mode 4, you're definitely a misogynist. You hate women. Now, I don't hate women. I care about women. When I address women, I always talk about their behavior, and their behavior should be addressed. Because if I'm dating a woman, I want to make sure that a woman has her head on straight. She's going to be available physically, psychologically, and mentally, and sexually. Because if she's not available in one of those 4 measures, you have to bat 1,000. The relationship is not going to work. I don't care what compatibility you have to be equally yoked. There are a number of individuals who talk about chemistry. When it comes to chemistry, yes, there should be physical chemistry and there should be psychological chemistry. There should be mental chemistry as well. Both of you should be similar in thought patterns. Now, there are individuals that say, well, we think too much alike. If you both are fire-breathing dragons, no, that's not going to work. But if you both know how to be humble and you know how to be direct, but be adult about the direct approach, you'll have an easier time getting along with each other in a relationship. But a number of you ladies out there, you can't be dangling the carrot known as sex in a man's face. Because at the end of the day, he's going to cheat. Men don't want to cheat. And there are a number of men who don't cheat. But too many women, when it comes to getting married or being in a long-term partnership, you think you don't have to serve your man. Well, if you don't serve your man, he's going to get served somewhere else. You need to learn how to cook. You need to learn how to cater to him like you want him to cater to you. You need to remember his birthday. You need to give him compliments. A number of women don't give men compliments. But men, you got to start asking. You got to put your foot down and letting women know what you want. Because if you don't, you're going to end up with the same disappointment when you go from relationship to relationship. And you shouldn't have to do that. So it is up to us as men to be forthright, number one, with ourselves. Because a number of us men, I'm going to cut to the chase. Many of us want just sex. We don't want a loving relationship ourselves. Agreed, there are a number of women who do waste our time. But you only find that out by not what they say, but what they do. And it starts out with the basic phone call. If you're doing all the calling, and if you're doing all the picking up and she doesn't have a car, you need to step back and examine the situation before you get into it. Because a lot of times, if you're a woman and she's halfway decent, we lose our focus really quickly because we're caught up in the nostalgia of her beauty instead of being caught up with who she really is. We don't want to see who she really is because we're naive as guys when it comes to some women. So what I'm telling you, as men, we need to start up, particularly as black men, we need to have standards. Standards are very crucial. Brother B Hack, and shout out to Brother B Hack and Brother Matt Coley. Because Brother Matt Coley did a video called Should I Hit That? If this woman has nothing going for herself and you're dating her, you got to ask yourself, should I hit that? Well, if you hit that, you're crazy. What you need to do, guys, is be a little bit more confident when you approach women. Read some of Alan Roger Curry's books. Listen to what Brother Ron Wills is telling you. Listen to what I'm telling you. In fact, I did 3 videos on dating. Rules of dating. Every guy who's looking for a serious relationship needs to come look at those 3 videos and take notes. Because if you understand what's going on around you with women, and you can't just text back and forth with women, you got to talk with women. Even if you're not interested in that woman per se or relationship, get an idea of what they're talking about. Start to take notes and look at what they do. I always tell any person, and this is an upcoming video, it's not what you say, it's what you do. Always follow the action. That's going to give you a clue about each and every person that you are talking to. A lot of us do not follow the action. We always go by hearsay And we do that because, number one, many of us are naive. Number two, we don't want to find out the real truth of what we're getting into. Why? Because it's going to disappoint us. It's going to break our egos. Because we thought when it came to this woman, we had ourselves a decent woman. Didn't turn out that way. Dating is a process that you're learning. But the reason why a lot of these relationships seem one-sided is because, number one, you have a number of selfish women who believe that it is all about them and they don't care about what your needs are. But we want to appease them by thinking we know what they want. And at the end of the day, we send each other messages that are conflicting. And when it comes to the traditional values, a number of women are caught up in hypocrisy. Certainly they want the benefits of the modern woman, but they also want the benefits of the traditional woman. And ladies, you can't deny that, because a number of you do. Because why do you all have to have a list of unrealistic expectations when the list of expectations you have, you're not going to live up to them? So why do you expect somebody else to live up to them? And you're not getting the men you want because, number one, some of you want to be in control of the relationship, so you will date a lower man than you. You don't want somebody who's on your level. That's why I don't hear that nonsense, well, I want somebody on my level. No, you don't. You want somebody who's a sucker, who's going to cater to your every selfish whim. Because a number of you ladies are like petulant children. You haven't grown up either. And you live in fantasy land. You don't live in the real world because your mamas never taught you about the real world. The mamas always taught you about their world and how to be mad at men because your mamas were mad at men. And for you fellas out there, you never been taught the real world either, because if you were taught the real world, you would not only understand other men when they're trying to teach you something, but you'd understand yourself, because a number of you men don't know who you are either. You're not confident. That's why a number of you are simps, manginas, white knights, and eunuchs. You don't have that confidence. You need to know your worth as a man. You need to have yourself together. And you need to understand what you want in a relationship, because there are a number of men who don't know what they want in a relationship. And once you know what you want in a relationship, then, and only then, you can vet a woman. But if you don't know what you want in a relationship as a man, what you're going to continue to do, you could continue to make relationships one-sided. Why? Because you're going to always appease the woman, thinking that she's going to give you validation. The only validation she's going to give you is a lot of laughs. Why? Because she's going to think that you're the stupid one for constantly catering to her, because you're not the only one who's catering to her. Other men are doing the same thing. But you don't know it because you're too naive. So men and women, you got to understand that a relationship takes two. You do for each other. It's not about you, ladies. I know all the commercials say everything is about what ladies want. No. If you're going to be with a man, ladies, don't deny him sex. Don't rationalize sex. You cater to each other. Because a relationship is a partnership. That's right. A relationship is a partnership. And if you don't listen to all these rules of propaganda that society is putting out, you'll be better off. Because at the end of the day, men and women, men, if you cater to the nonsense and you allow women to waste your time, they're going to waste it. And ladies, if you deny it, your man, what he wants, he's going to go get it somewhere else. So at the end of the day, both men and women, relationship takes two. Stop sending each other cross signals about what you want in a relationship. Be honest with yourselves and be honest with each other. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show for this evening, Friday, November 10th, 2017. You can tune in to the 411 Talk Zone radio show every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Blog Talk Radio. Guest call-in number is 215-383-5785. If you like my videos, please share and subscribe to the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube so I can continue to give you quality information for educational purposes from a professional and mature perspective. Now, on this channel, I don't engage in controversy, emotional issues, nor do I debate. Also, I don't participate in drama or unnecessary bickering because it is counterproductive. What I do on this channel is teach. I make you aware of what's going on in the real world by educating you from my own personal experiences. Plus, the information I give you is research. It's also realistic and 100% positive because I'm giving you the tools that you can apply to the real world. Because if you don't understand the real world, you will fail. And one aspect where people do fail is in relationships. So when you have knowledge, you have power. And if you have a topic, a business, or a new YouTube channel that you would like for me to discuss on YouTube or Blog Talk Radio, please email me at lej6521@gmail.com. And if you have a comment, please leave your comment in the comment section under the video. But make sure that your comments are pithy. No bloviating, pettifogging, or filibustering if you wish to opine. Now that's it for this video. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. Remember, please be gentle and respectful to each other and have a wonderful and blessed night. Good night.